have Mitch Burrow here with us, comedian. And
hey guys,
real quick question, right? So I watched one of your stand-ups when you were at the Laugh Factory, and you're talking about being a soldier in Iraq, about the porno.
no, I was not a soldier.
Marines.
Soldiers are army. I was
Marine.
in the Marine Corps.
That's the one. Sorry, bad memory. So is that's
You're
all true
right,
then?
Daniel.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid thing. Like who gives a shit, right? It's all the same. I had a GED and I couldn't get a real job, so I joined the military. It doesn't matter if it's a soldier or a sailor or whatever. I joined the Marine Corps out of peer pressure. My cousin and one of my friends were joining the Marine Corps. I wanted to join the Navy because my mom and stepdad were in the Navy, but then I didn't want them to call me gay when I came home on leave for Christmas. You know, they're in their cool dress blues Marine Corps uniform, and I'd be in that damn thing that looks like a Cracker Jack character. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll join the Marine Corps too then.
How was it? How long were you in there for?
5 years. I was in from 1998 to 2003. 18 to 23. So basically the years that people would normally be going to college and getting themselves in extreme amounts of debt in the US. I was getting paid and traveling the world. I traveled all over Asia, and then eventually I went to the Middle East, and the only European country I went to was Spain.
I went to play school.
I went to Rota, Spain.
I went to Spain's basically the Florida of England.
Yeah.
And weed's legalized over there. Well, it's decriminalized. So I went there for the first time in 2019. This is all before the shit kicked off. So
just so you could smoke weed?
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, my mom is from England. And okay. I've never been. I don't really know much about it. Are you are y'all what they would refer to as chavs?
Nah, we're not chavs. All right, here's a definition of a chav, right? Here's a bog standard textbook definition of a chav. A chav is someone who will wear designer clothing, and they try and look more wealthy than they are. They got the gold chains, they got the tracksuit bottoms, they got the tracksuit pants, whatever you want to call them. And they predominantly live in what we call council estates, or council estate being the projects or whatever you want to call it, low income area. Yeah, that's a textbook definition of a chav. But now we're too old to be chavs. You kind of stop being a chav once you get to your early mid-20s.
I don't see how you could grow out of that, but okay, if you say so.
Yeah. So right, I go to Alicante, right? Oh yeah, so the whole Amsterdam thing didn't work out because she won 18, so we couldn't go in anywhere to smoke. So it was a real bummer. So I was like, right, I go to Alicante. I'm not with this girl anymore. It was years ago. I go to Alicante. My uncle's living there. I'm like, right, fucking great. I can experience Amsterdam in Spain. And I got fucking blazed within 30 minutes of getting off that plane. 3 in the afternoon.
It's funny. I was living in Los Angeles for so many years, and it's completely legal. And I never even cared. Like, smoking pot was never a thing that I enjoyed doing. And now I'm in Texas, and it's very illegal here. And I hear people talking about like how it sucks that they can't smoke weed here. And I'm like, it's not a thing that I care about. Now, if I moved to Texas and all of a sudden whiskey was illegal, I'd be fucking pissed.
All right. So what brand?
I'm actually technically a bourbon drinker, and there's a really good one called Angel's Envy. So that's what I like to drink.
It's like 40%, is it?
I don't know the proof. It's smooth and it gets me drunk.
Fucking hard liquor.
I'm not big on the technicalities of things.
No, fair enough.
I'm not a massive drinker. It's got to be. It's going to sound really pussyish, but it's got to be like sweet, sweet alcohol, like tequila.
We got some
nice.
See, and you saying you can grow out of being a chav? Like, I mean, that seems like
no, that's not chavvy. Come on, I'm just
he's a metalhead. He's a metalhead, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like it when someone punches me in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
So you're into you like getting into mosh pits and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say enjoy it, but when the moment comes up and you're just fucking flailing your arms about and shit, get in the moment.
Because we're both 29, like we grew up during the sort of email grunge phase of the early noughties, and we go to these mosh pits. Like I don't go into it, and you'd see these skinny little fucking pasty kids with their shirts off, and they weren't even hitting each other. They were just fucking blindly swinging.
Just.
It's like, fuck these people, posers, man, posers.
I the first concert I went to by myself was a Smashing Pumpkins concert. Nice. And I was on the floor. I got general admission tickets. I was on the floor, and I was wearing glasses at the time. It wasn't really like a full-on mosh pit, but everyone was kind of like getting pushed back and forth. And Garbage was the opening act, and my glasses got knocked off my face and stepped on and crushed. And so I didn't even make it through the opening band, and then I couldn't watch the rest of I couldn't see anything for the rest of the concert. I might as well just listen to it on the radio.
My girlfriend, she's really big into live concerts, so she'll always be showing me stuff on YouTube. And I think it was Lamb of God. It was like a live performance of Lamb of God, and the mosh pit looked insane. It was like a fucking from the aerial view. It was a whirlpool.
Wow,
it was frightening. And then they do that other one, wasn't it, where it's like a wall. They have a wall, and it's just like a fucking like a medieval.
They actually hit each other though.
But in those with the metalheads and stuff, they take care of the people in the mosh pits. If someone falls down, they're like, whoa, stop, and then they'll help and like pick them up. Whereas with the shit that went on at the Travis Scott Astro World thing here in Houston, Texas, those people they're not like really into mosh pits and stuff like that. So when the crowd broke through and people were falling down, they just started panicking, and like all those people got trampled and killed because they didn't know how to react in a situation like that. Metalheads have big hearts. They put on a tough exterior, but they actually care about the people that are there with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of live events, I think one of the ones that always sticks with me the most is when Metallica played in the recently, I don't know because the Soviet Union sort of dissolved and they sort of opened up their borders. And all the music producers of record companies wanted to get their music into Russia.
Yeah.
So they did all these free concerts, and seeing Metallica playing to like 1.5 million people.
That's crazy, man.
Insane. And even James Hetfield has said on a podcast years ago, he was saying by the fourth song, you could see soldiers tearing off their fucking uniforms. It's just something else.
I mean, how many people did you say? How many million?
1.5 million, I believe.
So that was in 1991, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. And you know what's funny is like even with a smaller crowd size, there's a video that always makes me tear up a little bit just because of the effect of a person walking out on stage, and that's when Linkin Park was doing a collaboration with Jay-Z. They sent out to their fan mail, like, or their fan club, who would you want to see perform with us the most? And all of the people that responded with Jay-Z, they put them in a drawing so that they could get access to these tickets first. And so they have them come out to this concert. Linkin Park gets up on stage and they're playing like some of those songs that they did the CD with Jay-Z on. And then all of a sudden, Jay-Z walks out on stage completely unannounced, and the crowd just loses it. And to me, like, that's always been kind of like the thing that I wanted, was just to like step out and everybody just be like, oh shit, it's him. Like that to me is like a certain level of greatness that very few people will ever achieve.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was watching, I'm not even a big Michael Jackson fan, but it was just, it's winter now and it's England, it's cold. So me and my girlfriend are getting drunk and we're just flicking through YouTube, right? And I thought, right, let's get another good one, right? And I'm like, Michael Jackson, Dangerous, 1993. I think it was in, I can never pronounce the name of that place in Hungary, Budapest, something like that.
I've been watching what is it, the Black Widow and Hawkeye stuff, and so they pronounce it Budapest.
Well, so here's what happens, right? It's 1993. This is before he got accused of touching kids, right? So peak of his fame, peak Michael Jackson. And you know, I don't know what the regulations are over there, but they can have as many people as they want in an open area. Michael Jackson pops up and people start fucking screaming. The camera's on the especially the women in the front, and they're losing their mind. And he just,
I mean, they would faint when he would come out.
Yeah, they'd pass out, they'd faint, whatever. They'd even get dragged off in stretchers. And he's just there soaking it all in. I'm thinking, I wonder what that feels like.
I don't know, man. Like I've had some pretty like fun moments like after a set, you know, where you just really got the crowd on and you just feel like, man, these people love me, but never just walking out, you know, like it's never like no one's ever just been like, yes, Mitch is here. You know, even when I come home to my wife and kid, they're never like, yes, he's here.
You know,
I don't know that I'll ever get that.
The biggest high of my life so far, it was 2013. It was the day of release, the night of release of GTA 5. And I walked past the game shop. I think it was Game Station, they called it, or Game. And it was 9 p.m. at night. We still had 3 hours to go. And I was like, fuck this, let's go get drunk. And I'm walking past a bunch of nerds in camping chairs who were there for 3 hours before it even opened. And I come back at like 11:30 and I'm pretty wasted. And there's already 50 people in the queue. And the guys come out the store just before it opens and they start giving out raffles. And I won the raffle, which meant I got to go first. Right?
That is amazing.
As I'm walking through the door, they start playing the San Andreas theme tune. And that was the highlight of my life. I could feel the eyes burning in the back of my head.
Hell yeah, man.
It was something.
So it's different with the nerds as well, because they're all fucking like,
yeah,
want to play it first, and they want to be known that is that guy.
The dude on the camp chair, you know what I mean? I had to wait there 3 hours only for me to cut the...
So did the guys who were like sitting there waiting, did they get anything for being first in line and waiting, or would it have been?
They just got the game first.
But you got it
second
first.
in line behind him.
Yeah, I got it first, and then I got given like a game guide or something. I gave it to some hobo as a good gesture.
So you were the only so they only did the raffle for one person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. I do like the fact that you were really drunk and irresponsible, and you were rewarded for that behavior.
I was a pedestrian, so there's nothing irresponsible about it. I don't appreciate being drunk.
How dare you?
How dare you? But yeah. So, but I know what you're saying. You know, it's a nice feeling. Like my dad's a performance. He's not a comedian. He does poetry now. He's a soldier. He's a veteran. You know, he was in Ireland during the 80s when all that shit was kicking off.
Which Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
Which one do they say is the real Ireland, and which one do they say is the other one?
I'll explain it to you to the best of my ability, right? So,
you're British, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on the real island.
I can't even really believe what you say, can I?
You have the Republic of Ireland, right? Because about hundreds of years ago, some potatoes didn't work out and England didn't help.
This sounds offensive.
Right? No, but honestly, it really
I'm about to lose my Irish fan base because of you.
No, honestly, swear to God, this is historically correct, right?
Okay.
The potato production didn't work out too well because of some sort of worm or bacteria. It fucked all the potatoes, right? And that was like the main source of nutrition was potatoes.
Yeah, and just like that guy on Mars, played by Matt Damon.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt Damon and the Irish have the right attitude.
Ireland is basically the Mars of Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm following.
But this was hundreds of years ago. And whoever the king was, I don't know if it was King James I or whoever, but they just didn't give a fuck. They weren't helping out whatsoever. So that's why you had loads of Irish people go over to America. And after that, they were like, well, fuck the English. We're going to be independent now, right? And they tried during World War One, kind of worked out, didn't really work out. So you got Republic of Ireland. And then you've got Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is predominantly, I would say, 50-50 loyal to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really fucked up. It's really, I mean,
Northern Ireland is loyal to England, to the UK. Republic of Ireland is its own country.
It's part of the European Union, yeah. Whereas Northern Ireland is part of
which one is Dublin in?
That's in the Republic of Ireland.
And what's the capital of Northern Ireland?
Belfast.
Yeah, so Republic of Ireland is the real Ireland. Yeah,
that's the independent Ireland.
Right.
And I'm not just saying that.
Where did all the like bombs and stuff go off?
All right, so a lot of places. But one of the biggest one was the Brighton Hotel. There was a hotel in England in Brighton, right? So Maggie Thatcher, who was the Prime Minister at the time, she was in this hotel, and a guy named Pat McGee had planted a bomb above her room a week prior.
Yeah.
And then the bomb went off while she was in that hotel, and it killed about 5 of her MPs. And she got, I don't think she got crushed, but she was quite badly affected by the explosion, but she survived. But then that same day, or it was the next day, she showed up to a press conference and just fucking swept it off.
Now she's pretty heavily criticized, right? Is calling her Maggie a bit disrespectful?
Call it what you want. I don't give a fuck. We're not particularly what you call orthodox patriots. I mean, we're patriotic, but not for the same reasons you think.
But but she was the prime minister, right?
She was the prime minister from 1979 all the way up to 1991.
But she was before, so like I don't have an opinion on like. I mean, I appreciate history and all that shit, but if I wasn't alive to feel the effects of it, I mean, we probably did, but like, like I don't hate her, I don't like her, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
She was in power for 12. She was in power for 12 years, and she basically outsourced all the steel works and all the industrial jobs up in the north.
Well, yeah,
and outsourced it, put them out of business.
Oh,
because you got it cheaper. There was a lot of strikes. It was real fucked up.
I mean, she's a Tory. She's
conservative. Yeah, she's conservative.
Yeah.
And then, so this guy, Pat McGee, this IRA guy, got sentenced to 14 years in prison, and got let out due to the what's called the Good Friday Agreement, which was 1998.
All right. So where was the IRA based out of?
Well, I'm guessing
I imagine all your listeners are from the United Kingdom, so they're just hearing me.
Well, a lot of them are from America.
Why is he asking all this really obvious stuff?
It's not necessarily obvious because even people in England wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, we're a dumb country.
That's what I've been saying for years.
But yeah, I mean, I'd need to do more research on it. But from what I understand, the IRA were based, the Irish Republican Army was based in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
And, but they had sympathy. There was a lot of American support for the IRA. I don't tell you that in history.
I see. Okay. So the Northern, so that's because they wanted their independence from the UK.
There was a referendum. I can't remember when the referendum was, but I think the UK kind of moved the goalpost a little bit because there's like 6 counties in total, and they split it into 9, and then that led to the break in Northern Ireland. So they kept that bit, and it's weird, right? So I went to Ireland for the first time when I was 25, and I get on a bus. I'm meeting some chick, and she lives in Derry, which is 2 hours away from Belfast.
Hey, there's a show on Netflix about the Derry girls.
Derry girls, yeah. They talk like Derry. That's how they talk, Derry. And so I've got to meet her. But I get on the bus, the shuttle bus from Belfast all the way to Derry, and you could tell which parts were loyalist and which were Republican. So the loyalists would have like the is it King David's flag, King George flag? What do they call it? Sure, what do they call it?
The English flag.
Yeah, what's it called? The Red Cross. Is it St. David's?
St. George.
Right. So they got that with their little emblem in the corner. That showed that they're loyal.
See, that's how loyal I am. I don't even know the name of our own fucking flag.
Yeah. So
fucking St. David.
So I'm going through places like Antrim and all that, and I'm seeing the flags. So I'm like, right, they're loyalist, and it was proper gangster.
So that's kind of like seeing the Confederate flag driving through southern states and stuff like that, right? You're like, oh yeah, you don't want to fuck with.
But this is where it gets this is where it gets really gangster, right? So I'm meeting up with this chick, and her mum was associated with the IRA, during the 70s and all that. And I was in a Republican part of Derry, and every time she was introducing me to people, she'd say, "Oh, hi, this is Daniel. He's a friend of ours." And I'd not long seen Donnie Darko, so I knew that was some gangster shit. A friend of ours means he's with us. Don't touch him.
Oh, so they were like protecting you because you obviously weren't. Okay, that's pretty tight, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that, because you mentioned the way that the Derry people talk. There's a lot of different English language accents. Right, like I have a Southern accent. I know there's a bunch of different ones just across England itself. What do you think is the most retarded sounding accent that speaks English natively?
My own gripe is with what's called the West Country accent. It's what we call the country bumpkin accent. They sound like farmers.
So you're saying basically like the worst English speaking accent is actually in England?
Yeah, of course.
Even compared to like American accents.
American accents are fine. I mean, I don't know, man.
Have you heard like people from Wisconsin talk?
Yeah, dude. Like, you know about those people?
No, that's a valley. That's like California.
Yeah, that's California. But if you've ever seen the movie Fargo,
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was Minnesota. I thought that was
I'm
Minnesota.
quite endearing. I think that's quite endearing, though.
It is. That's like Fargo, Minnesota, but it's right next to Wisconsin. That whole area kind of talks the same.
There are parts of America that fascinate me. I've never been to America, but there was a film I'm a big fan of called Salt Lake, SOC Punk.
Oh yeah, okay.
With Matthew Lillard, and honestly, they're talking. They live in Salt Lake City, Utah. But they have to go over to the neighboring place of, is it Wisconsin?
Well, it's definitely not neighboring.
There's something that neighbors right next to them, and it's just really an odd place.
Really, I'd have to. Let me.
Might begin with a W.
I don't know. I'd have to figure it out.
But yeah, that was just, you know, I mean, there are parts of America that fascinate me. Like I was watching years ago. I watched Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank. So you're getting that sort of idea of what Lincoln, Nebraska is like, and I'm like, wow, this is parts of America that are just alien. You know, because your country fascinates me because it's not, each individual state is its own kind of society. It's the only thing they have in common is that they are part of a republic. Yeah,
I mean, you know, maybe certain states next to each other are similar, but yeah, each one has its own little identity and things that it's known for. And then like regions of the U.S. all have like certain dialects and accents that they kind of keep to themselves.
There's a YouTube channel called Internet Historian. He's a British guy. He does great works on like the true story behind things like Goodfellas or Queen Elizabeth and all that. Okay. And he did one on Dances with Wolves, and he was saying that they had an advisor who was a woman who was part of one of those tribes. She spoke the language, but then other people from that tribe watched the film at the premiere and started laughing because there was a male dialect and a female dialect, and she was teaching all the cast and crew to speak the female dialect.
Dude, that's very similar. Something happened to me personally. So I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan for 3 years, from 1999 to 2002, and I liked fucking. So I would try and like,
no, it doesn't, man.
Yeah, you know. So I figured that like the best way to fuck some chicks was to talk to them, and I learned how to speak Japanese.
That does help.
You can't just stand there with your cock out. That doesn't work.
Yeah. The only word I need to know. I
tried it a few times.
The only word I need to know in Japanese is hi. Was that yes?
Yeah, hi. Actually, all right. So like I learned a few things, right? Like how to say you are cute is anatta wa kawaii. And then you follow up that with I want to fuck, which is yaritai. So I would be like anatta wa kawaii yaritai. Now, what's interesting is similar to that Native American language, the Japanese men and women speak differently. So I'll never forget. I had been there for like probably 2 years, and I had been there for about 2 years, and I was at a bar pretty much by myself, and there was a dude there, and I just like started up a conversation with him in what little broken Japanese I knew. And he goes, "Who taught you Japanese?" And I was like, just, you know, some girls that I've been messing around with. And he's like, "Yeah, I can tell it's girls because you talk like a girl." He was like, if you do that to too many guys, they're gonna think you're gay because you talk just like a woman. And I was like, well, it's worked for me this much, so I'm just gonna keep going with what I know. But I definitely should have paid more attention to like the things that were in the books, because the Japanese to the English Japanese dictionaries would specify the right thing to say.
You shouldn't beat yourself up though, because in this country, I'm sure same in America, we're expected to understand the language inside and out by the age of 16 years of age. In Japan, it's 25.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I just know like the kanji and stuff over there. There's so many different characters that.
There's so many different like little languages.
I'm bilingual. I speak French as a second language. I used to live over in France.
I have a friend that's French but grew up in England, and he's the same way.
Yeah, and you know, like any sort of what they call romantic language, Latin-based language, there's a masculine and feminine thing going on, and like with adjectives, right? So, and this is only something I could notice, but I was working at a vacation park when I came back to England, And this woman comes up and she's wearing a shirt that says "Je suis fabuleux," ending in AUX, right? I am fabulous. But that's the masculine ending for it. Fabuleux is the feminine. So I was laughing because her shirt said I'm a fabulous man.
Well, you know what's funny about that? It's interesting that you say that, because French is a gender-based language, very similar to Spanish, right? Where like you have Latino and Latina, but it seems like white people started putting this non-gender binary thing on Latinos and making it Latinx. And this is where I find this is where I start seeing the disrespect, where it's like, oh, these poor people, let's save them. They didn't do any of that shit with French people. You know, they weren't trying to like non-genderize the French, even though it's a very similar spoken language in that way.
Well, we kind of had a Latin dude on the podcast, and he said like the Latinx thing is bullshit. So
it is. There's no Latinos except for maybe like college students who are like falling in line with this thing. But for the most part, there's no like Mexicans growing up being like, I'm Latinx. It's just a really weird thing that white people tried to like start pushing on people to make themselves feel better. It's so strange. But this, where I find it being disrespectful the most, is they're not doing the same thing with the French.
It's because the French are very anti-postmodernist, so they would never allow that to seep into their culture.
Also, they're white.
Yeah, I'm black,
and that's the thing. But I mean, like,
there is black French people.
Yeah, but everywhere. those are mostly Muslims who were like refugees that came over, right? Or at least the first generation was. Yeah. And now they're starting to become more and more citizens over there. But for the most part, the French country is a white country, and white people in America do not feel the need to save them from themselves.
I'll tell you what.
But here in America, we see those poor Mexicans and we think, oh, they don't know how discriminatory they're being by assigning gender to words. So we got to fix that for them.
You know what? They're strong people. They're already fighting against that. I promise you. The Spanish.
I think it's pretty interesting, because I just read a thing where one of the Latin social groups came out and was like, yeah, we're not using Latinx in any of our stuff. Like, don't even bring it up.
Unless it's the X-Men. I don't want to know.
Have you been on Live Leak? I think the Mexicans are fine.
So here's one for you.
I've been on Live Leak, but now I'm definitely going to go check it out, whatever it is you're referring to.
So I lived in the southern part of France, and there was a lot of Muslims over there, and they were great guys. You know, they were great to hang out with. But what I found bizarre is that one of the stereotypes, you see a lot of young Muslims like cruising past in their Peugeot or their Citroen, and they'd be blaring Arabic music out of the car, but like religious chants, and it sounds cool. But I'm thinking, in England, you'd never see, you know, someone in a Citroen whatever the Picasso, with hymns of praise blaring out the car. Yeah. You never see it.
With the Our Father or Hail Mary being blasted out the
really loud.
Oh man, you know, I lived with a guy named Lionel. He was a proper pervert. Not with me, just with women. I'll tell you how I know, right? So,
oh, thank goodness.
I did the whole couch surf thing. I went online and I had some money saved down. He's like, yeah, come live with me, €200 a month. I'm like, fucking yes, cool. And I get there, right? And every time I leave the house, he'd be like, hey, Danielle, bon baiser, meaning happy fucking. I was like, okay, Lionel, this guy's like 58, half, you know. And he says, you find you meet woman, you bring friend. I'm like, okay, Lionel. So anyway, I was really naive at the time, and I lacked certain social skills. And one time I get back, and he's there with some young Asian woman. And I was like, oh, is this your girlfriend, Lionel? And he's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. I'm like, cool, nice to meet you. And I go in my bedroom and I can hear them fucking. And then I can hear the door going, and then it closes and they're gone. And then he comes back. I said, Lionel, where's your girlfriend? He goes, oh, I take her home to the train station. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I got this friend Marvin at the gym. I see him the next day. I'm like, yeah, I told him the story. And he said, dude, that was a prostitute. I was like, I didn't connect the dots. I actually thought Lionel had a girlfriend. I was happy for him. And he was saying, yeah, he said the train station, right? You've been to the train station. You know what's there. Right? Like, oh, yeah.
Who lives at the train station?
Asian prostitutes. That's it.
I also did like a couch surfing kind of thing where I got a small room from a guy. He was actually a homosexual man in Los Angeles. And everything was great living there. He was a really polite guy. Then I remember I was using the shower when I first got there, and I noticed there was like, you know how like some showers, they'll have like a separate shower head that comes off that's attached to a hose. And normally they'll have like massage or spray or whatever. They'll just have like different settings. Well, this one was just a long cylindrical shower head that was about like if you put your thumb and your finger together, it was about that big around. And I was just like, man, this is such a weird shower head. But I was like using it to spray my back or whatever with. And then one day I Googled it. I looked it up, and it turned out it was for to give yourself enemas.
Okay. Clean out
it
your
was
asshole.
so he could clean his asshole out before engaging in probably like the first time he had sex with a new person, just to make sure it's all clean up in there.
That's very
courteous. And I was using it to spray off my face.
Yeah, cleans plenty of holes,
Yeah, I guess so.
It's funny, like I'm sure you experienced this when you're banging a Japanese girl, but like, first time I banged a French girl, it was like the lights were off. She was a nice girl, but I hadn't seen her in years, and she put on some weight, and I thought, you know what, she's a nice person, so I'm just gonna get drunk, I'm gonna have a good time. And but that bra came.
I'm gonna get drunk and fuck this fatty.
And
not acknowledge it.
Yeah, but I took that bra off, man, and it was like dropped toilet paper. This is right. And I'm the lights are off, and I'm drunk, and I'm banging her, right, and I can just hear it in the darkness. Just, we. Oh yeah, she's French, of course. That's what she would say. Thank God she wasn't German, right, man? Yeah. Instant boner.
Or nine.
Scheiße.
Oh, be my Fjorda.
The Japanese, it's funny. You watch like Japanese porn, and they all sound like they're in extreme pain. And I think people are just a product of the media that they take in, because honestly, like that is the sound that a lot of them would make. I guess they thought like that is what their partner wants to hear when they're having sex. So, I would like stop them halfway through sometimes to be like, hey, are you having a good time? And, and they're like, yeah. And I'd be like, all right, well, why don't you sound like it? Because right now it sounds like you don't really want to be here, and I'm starting to lose my boner.
You know what baffles me? The fact that porn sites have a comment section on videos. It's like, oh, I really like this pornographic video. Like once I'm done, I'm done. I don't the web browser gets deleted. I like that people will put their actual names as their login.
Yeah.
Tom Wilson loves this.
One time I saw a comment saying, this is tagged as lesbian anal. This is not lesbian anal. I'm report this to admin, all capitals, right? And I can imagine some dude like with an awkward boner like, dear admin, this video was hashtagged and all that. And imagine being the IT dude. Imagine being the IT dude.
I was right on the verge of coming before I realized that this was the wrong video.
Yeah, you imagine the admin dude. I'm sorry you feel this way. Yeah, here's
some free credits to your next video. Please enjoy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you didn't enjoy the free porn.
Another one as well is like every once in a while. I'm not a like prolific porn watcher. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you from many years of
experience. Yeah, everyone's watched porn, right? Come on.
And I'm just saying, like, I love it every once in a while when you catch like a little bromance going on in the comment section of a porn video.
Like the reply threads, yeah.
I like
so it'll just be like one dude is like, dude, this is one of the nicest pussies I've ever seen. And then another guy comments below, he's like, yeah, man, honestly, I really wasn't knowing what to expect. And then I saw this perfect vagina. And I'm with you, man. This is great. Just two guys bonding over.
And wake each other off.
Yeah. Dude, there is a subreddit. There's, you know what Reddit is, right?
Yeah.
There's a subreddit for that. And I can't think
of
what
porn comments.
No. There's a subreddit for guys that want to jerk off together.
All
right, okay. I'm gonna join that right now. What's up with that?
But they'll be like, hey guys, I want to watch this video at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join me, we can do it together and share this moment so that I'm not so alone while I'm jerking off to pornography.
That explains why Amazon's introduced that watch party feature. You know what I
mean? It was so successful with the pornography industry. It's got to be great with Amazon Prime.
Oh man, that's what I mean. Like, there's a subreddit for like, how do you feel when a porn video is miscategorized? Like,
I feel like I should explain how I know that subreddit exists. Otherwise, the people who are listening to this are going to be like, Mitch definitely subscribes to that subreddit. That is not it. When you go onto a subreddit like R porn, for instance, people will link videos from other subreddits.
Yeah.
And it'll be listed under that subreddit, I guess. So like you'll see the video that you're looking at, and then that title for the other subreddit will also be there. So that's how I know, not because I'm jerking off with other dudes on the internet.
You don't need to justify nothing, my friend.
I gotta justify that, dude. I'm sorry.
You know,
I can't have no confusion on this subject right now.
I went through a phase of like saving videos, pornographic videos that I liked on my iPhone. Like I just sort of saved them in the browser thing.
What year? What year is this?
So you can come back to it later.
Oh, this is 2021. This is now.
This phase that he just got out of last week.
Yeah, this phase. Well, I'll tell you how I got out of the phase. So you're familiar with Ninja Warrior, right?
The obstacle course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So in a city about an hour and a half drive away from where I'm living, there's a little miniature, a kind of scaled down version of Ninja Warrior that you can pay and participate in. Instead of it being water, it's foam.
That's fun.
And my phone was in my pocket, and it went down the foam pit, and it was gone forever. Right, and my girlfriend was with me, and I was just like, I just lost all my porn. And she was more upset at me for not being upset about the photos that we lost of each other. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can understand why she would be critical of you in that situation.
No, it was
fun. But I can also understand why you're upset about that porn. That makes a lot of sense.
So I haven't saved porn since. So there you
go. Was some of it saved that you were planning on coming back to later?
Yeah, but you don't have a password on your phone, do you?
No, the phone's gone. It's gone. Like,
you know, but you don't password. You didn't have a password, did you?
Yeah, of course I did.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not a fucking idiot.
Well, Jesus.
Just an iPhone.
I don't know, man. You lost all your saved porn. It sounds like a fucking idiot to me.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, no, I am an idiot in that regard. But yeah. But yeah, other than that, Ninja Warrior is really good. Highly rate it. You know?
I would love to try an obstacle course like that. If I could go back in time to when I was still in the Marine Corps.
Oh yeah.
I feel like right now I'd get to the first obstacle and I would immediately be wet. I'm not physically ready for that kind of thing right now.
Yeah, I got a bad ankle. I feel you, bro. So
I weigh over 300 pounds, but you get it because you have a sore ankle sometimes when it starts to rain.
Well, I used to be a professional free runner. I'm retired now.
Is free running like parkour?
Yeah, that was me.
Now, what do you mean by professional?
I got paid small amounts of money to do it.
That's probably the most interesting thing that I've had anybody tell me in a really long time.
Yeah, I did it.
Who would pay you, like GoPro?
Nah, not GoPro. That was in its infancy back then. It like, you do like events and you get paid by an organizer to do these events.
Okay. And what were some of the like crazier things? Like, were you up on like buildings and shit, or?
Sometimes, but not necessarily buildings. Like I remember one of the last paid gigs I'd done. It was in my hometown, and there was a whole theater thing going on, and I was one part of that. I was like the intro part of it, so the audience would sort of would follow me as I'm doing fucking backflips off bins and doing like these with this breakdancer. I'm doing somersaults over him, and then that would lead them to the Olympic swimming pool where the rest of the performance was taking place. And I did like a backflip and landed in a ninja pose.
Like, that's awesome, dude. I'm 41 years old. I never learned to backflip.
You know what?
It's one of my great. It's one of the things I regret the most in life. I think is never learning how to backflip.
Here's the problem with backflips: it's over the second. Like once you've done a backflip, it's like, right, okay, what's the next thing I can do? It's never enough. It's never enough. I mean, I'm doing 360 backflips. I never did a double back, but you always want to take it further. It's like, oh, I can do a backflip now. Now what can I do? It's never enough.
I think it would have just been cool to like be able to run, do like a cartwheel, and then land and do a backflip. Like just, I feel like you would automatically get laid if you did that like in a park or something.
You know what? Actually, I want to dispel that myth, because during the 2012 Olympics in England, we had it in London in the 2012 Olympics, and where I live is where they did the sailing event, and all the Spanish and the French and all the sailors and all that, they were the nightclub. I was there, and I'm doing flips on the dance floor, and the girls are like sort of patting me on the head and then just fucking walk away. They didn't care. It was amusing for a second, and then they walked the other way. So it was hard.
I came back from Iraq and stopped in Rota, Spain, and I was just like, yeah, I went to Iraq, and then I got laid. So I guess I didn't never need to really learn how to do backflips. Yeah,
you're in the Marines. That's like 10 times more established than I'm a performing monkey,
I did the Marine Corps, and then I did stand-up comedy. Like I did all the stuff that gets you laid.
Yeah, nice. So you started, was there any ambition before the army? Like were you just naturally a funny guy anyway, and you just found yourself on stage?
Or was it all just to get laid?
Yeah, that was it, man. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I gained weight, and I was like, I got to figure out some way to get some pussy. So that's what I ended up doing. I was just telling stories to people at parties, and they were laughing. And at the time, I was listening to a lot of stand-up comedy on satellite radio, and I kind of figured out the format of joke telling. Decided to try and go do it at open mic, and it worked the first time I did it. I bombed a lot more after that first time, but the first time was great, and so I just kept going with it.
Yeah, nice.
It was never like when I was younger watching the Tonight Show or something like that. I never looked at that and was like, I want to do that. I can do that, because I didn't think I could do that. I thought that was something like genius people did. And then I realized that it didn't really take a genius to tell a funny story.
It does take some courage, though. Well, a lot of courage, really, to command the attention of at least a dozen or sometimes 1,000 strangers.
I don't know, man. I think that maybe people who would never consider it look at it as courage to get up on stage like that. I think it's more of a desperation. Like just really wanting to have some sort of I don't know, just some positive feedback in your life. You're wanting some sort of I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but you just want some people to validation is what you're looking for. You're desperate for it, and that's one way to get it, is to get up on stage and try and make these people laugh. I think a lot of people put comedians up on pedestals, and honestly, like after doing it for as long as I have, I've certainly pulled back a little bit on thinking that comedians are great. I think a lot of comedians are just desperate for that validation, desperate, like narcissistic, that not necessarily doing all of this for the right reason. And I definitely don't think anyone's necessarily, like, some of the funniest people I know would never get on stage. I think that it takes a certain amount of work to figure out like the joke telling aspect of it to get the structure right. But comedians aren't the funniest people. It's just come down a bit for me over the years, where I know a lot of people idolize some comedians and think that they're great people. And just after the amount of time that I've been involved with it, I think anyone could really do it. If just given, like, it's like any job. If you just put the time and effort into it, you'll eventually get good at it.
It's interesting watching episodes of Kill Tony, especially going back to the one that you were on with Shane Gillis. And like you said, there are some people that are just narcissistic. You get these fucking posers or people that just go up on stage and they think they're the funniest people in the world, and then they don't get that reception from the audience or from you guys. That's why the interviews are so important, because you just tell them a new one.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think like the second person that got on stage for that episode was that black chick who thought that she was going to come up there,
Brianna,
and really and just like stick it to those white guys. And it's like,
cringy though, isn't it?
Oh, I had to fast forward.
Yeah, same.
Like, why take that time away from the people who like really want it?
Yeah. Well, Red Band got really bent out of shape about it, quite rightly.
Yeah, and honestly, like I kind of like I think in that moment Shane kind of saved it, because I was just kind of like, yeah, fuck this bitch. Let's get the next person on who wants to be here.
Yeah.
Instead of just someone who's trying to come up and being like, well, I just, I thought I would be like the rest of these white people and just get up here and not say shit. And it's like, well, that's not what's happening. So you're just making an asshole out of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few hit and miss sets on that episode, and there were some great ones as well. I mean, and
it always is. There's always a little hit and miss, but I just don't like people who don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like, being there and feeling that secondhand embarrassment? It must be palpable.
Nah, man, it's fine. I mean, that's what the show is. So, I'm usually just like thinking, okay, I'm gonna make a comment about this. I'm gonna make a comment about this. And I'm just letting the person dig themselves a hole that I can just help them get even deeper into once I start talking.
One of the highlights of that episode was that Michael Mandragon.
The weird vampire looking.
Yeah, he looked like the guy from the dad from Back to the Future. What's his name?
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. Yeah,
he looks like the dude from.
Because the bit that really makes it laugh as well was when Tony said he looks like Joseph Goebbels, like little Joey Goebbels.
Yeah, I think all of us were looking at that guy like he's probably gonna eat us after this. He has a refrigerator full of corpses.
You really added to it as well, because like the for those that don't know about Kill Tony, every comedian that comes up on stage gets 60 seconds, and before he could finish his joke about his girlfriend getting hit by a bus, the cat sounded, and you said to Tony, "Can you let him finish the joke?" And then
I wanted to hear it. The
anticipation. Even just him saying the rest, starting from the beginning, was funny. He goes, "My girlfriend got hit by a bus," and then we just started laughing.
Yeah, that was
when he says, "Never mind,
never mind."
And then, like, I mean, sometimes Tony will do that though. He'll be like, "Let's hear the rest of it." So I was like, "Yo, I don't care what if you want to or not. Like, please let us just hear the end of this joke," because he was doing so well. I thought he was great.
Yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, great stage presence and all that. And then you guys just kept all four of you, well, three of you for the most part, were just ripping on the fact that he's a vampire, and those jokes just kept coming. You're really building on each other, and I like that camaraderie.
By the way, I do want to say, so Hans Kim, Hans and I did comedy together in Seattle years ago. I knew Hans. Hans was the first one that came up on stage, I think.
Yeah. So
I've known Hans for quite some time. And I felt really comfortable with him, and that really helped my appearance on that show. Because as soon as he started, and he said something like him and his girlfriend got into a fight, and Shane was like, "Whoa, what kind of fight?" And then I immediately was like, "Was it kung fu or karate?"
Karate.
And then you see Hans says, "Oh, there's three of you now," and that just set the tone for the show. And it made me feel very at ease having someone on there like Hans that I knew I could have fun with, who I would give it to and then would just give it right back just as much, but in a smart way as well, and not just be like, "Oh, you motherfuckers talking shit" or whatever.
Yeah, no, it was good to watch, because again, it did start building. The camaraderie was just building, and obviously, I know there's alcohol involved as well, and that really helped. But that Michael Mandragon rip, I know I'm not saying his name right. I forget how it's pronounced.
I think that was it.
But it's
Von Drag now, Jeremy.
Yeah, hilarious.
I believe it was Dracula. I believe that was how you pronounce it.
There was that bit when like you were asking about like his mum caught him jerking off. And then Shane Gillis says, like, you have to follow the vampire rules. You have to invite her in. That just killed me.
No, he's like, oh no, get out. He says, get out. So invitingly, doesn't he?
Oh no, get out. You know, that happened to me actually. I was like when I was about 17.
Oh, funny story.
Yeah, so I was 17, 18 years old, right? And me and my girlfriend just finished college for the year, and I was living in a big house at the time. My mother, all right, so my mother didn't even know I was in the house, and my girlfriend was on antibiotics, so we couldn't have sex because the pill wasn't working. So we just decided to go foreplay, right? So I got her up against the wall. I'm wearing fucking Iron Man underwear for some reason, you know.
Because it's cool.
Yeah, and I'm fucking, and I'm doing the old finger banging to her, and she's up against the wall like that, and my fucking mum walks in. Right, the door is here, fucking my mum's face and my girlfriend's tit, like right there. Right, she's bringing my clothes in, she's bringing my fresh clothes in, and I'm like, whoa, shit, and slam the door. And but the look on my mother's face, I'm like, I hope she doesn't. Well, she's gonna remember now. I just fucking said it.
Yeah, I don't think I ever. You think your mom watches this show?
Sometimes, but I don't think she'll get this far. So it's safe to say.
Hey, can you give me 1 second, just real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Cool. I'm gonna grab my vape charger as well.
I'm gonna make a coffee.
You know, just as
Sorry
well.
about that. Sean's dog is licking his asshole. That should be some part of your podcast.
It will be. It will be.
He's really going to town.
It's a she. It's licking a vagina.
She's really. Oh, well, she's definitely enjoying herself, isn't she? She's getting her nose up in there. She's aggressive. Look at the way her ears. She's licking it off of her face. Oh god.
Princess Leia. That's her name.
Oh, is it?
But here's the thing: that breed of dog is known as a border collie. They're the most intelligent species of dog.
Yeah, and she learned how to lick her own pussy, so that's pretty smart. Pretty smart, if you ask me.
No, if I can lick my pussy, man, I'll never leave the house.
Oh man, yeah, Sean, you fucking missed it, dude. Your little girl was going to town on herself while you were gone.
Yeah, she does. When I'm not looking, she's like, "Oh, I got the opportunity now. Fucking lick away."
We have a dog that we just adopted. She was about to get put down 2 Fridays ago, and we picked her up on a Thursday before they put her down. And she's great, but at night when we're laying in bed, she'll be in her dog bed, and you will just hear the sloppy licking sounds of her cleaning herself, and it's just the most disgusting thing that I've ever heard. And I'm like, hey, could you please fucking stop doing that?
That's exactly what I do.
This isn't dog porn. Report to admin. This isn't a border collie licking its own vagina.
Our fucking YouTube video will get taken down now because of that.
She's clearly licking her own asshole, not her vagina. Get this out of here. This is garbage. Hey, what was the long question you were going to ask?
It's not necessarily a long question, but it might be a long answer. So, you know, the United States having all these different time zones, because in the UK, we just have one time zone. So is there any parts of the United States where you're just like, that makes the arbitrary line between states and time zones just make no sense?
No, because I mean, it just matches up with like the sunset, you know? So they just go through with like, you know, these states are lined up here and they kind of do it. What is interesting is like Arizona basically said, nah, fuck that. And Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time. So one part of the year, Arizona will be on the same time as California. And then the other part of the year, they'll be 1 hour ahead.
You know, I was watching a documentary earlier today about what happened to France during German occupation. And one of the first things that they did once the Nazis took over was they changed the time zone of France to match that with Germany's.
And is that still in effect today?
No.
Oh,
I don't think so. I don't know. They're 1 hour ahead of us, so I don't know what they're doing.
Sean, what do those 3 crosses signify on your hand?
My brothers and the big ones. My older brother is sadly no longer with us, but people wouldn't really know that unless they knew me personally. You know what I mean? So it kind of looks like I'm a fucking religious freak.
It's like the last scene of The Wicker Man.
I'm not religious at all, so it kind of like. But there you go.
Okay, so like that's a pretty meaningful tattoo.
Yeah, I'm covered in them though, so.
Yeah, are the rest of them as deep and meaningful, or are they like mine where I have a tribal tattoo because when I was 13 I thought it would look cool?
You ever heard of Kool Keith, Dr. Octagon, the rapper from the 90s? That's an album cover from him. A lost quote. Yeah, because they're quite meaningful. Yeah, so I suppose, yeah. But then this right arm's just covered in mess. So it's for like important shit. One arm's for doodles, I suppose.
I like it. One is just to try shit out, and then if you like it, you'll put it on the other arm.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a segue, right? But this is my dad told me the story when he was in the army that I thought you might appreciate. So he was based in Hong Kong for 2 years because the British still owned Hong Kong, I guess.
Yep.
And the Americans were involved at some point, and they're in a bar in Hong Kong, and this American dude just showed up. I think he's from Texas on that, and he just looked around. He went, "I'm gonna go downtown and get me some goddamn pussy," right? And then my dad and his mates, they latched onto that for weeks, and they just kept putting a pause between the pussy and the rest of the world. So for weeks, they were just like adding to it, going, "I'm gonna go downtown and get me some goddamn pussy." This went on for a week.
How long did the pauses get?
They just got longer and longer and longer for weeks. And then he said that one time he was taking a shit, and on the cubicle it just said, "Congratulations, ma'am, you're just giving birth to an officer."
That's great.
Because he was in Hong Kong, and one thing that always fascinated me was this place known as Kowloon Walled City. So Kowloon Walled City started off as a refugee camp back in the 60s, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And it became known as the City of Anarchy. If you want to be a dentist, you were a dentist. You didn't need no certificates or nothing, you know. And
you would just, hey man, if you got a pair of pliers, start pulling out these motherfuckers' teeth.
It was the most densely populated place in the world. So we're talking, imagine 4 football fields. So what's that?
400 yards.
6.5 acres or something like that.
2 meters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, an acre is a football. Yeah, so let's go with that. Let's say 5 to 6 acres.
Yeah, right. So in that very small space, you had 50,000 people living there at its peak, right? And they could only build
14, like Astroworld.
Yeah, and they could only build 14 stories up because it was right next to the airport, so they couldn't go any higher than 14 stories. So it was dense. It was dense.
That's fucking crazy, man.
I said to my dad, I was like, "Did you ever go to Kowloon Walled City?" He said, "No, we were told at the very beginning, like any white face seen in that place goes missing."
Where was that?
This is Hong Kong.
That was in Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong while I was in the Marine Corps, and this must have been 2000, I think. I'll never forget. I got onto an elevator, and there was a Chinese woman getting on the elevator with me, and I asked her something, and then she replied with a perfect like British accent, and it completely threw me off because prior to that I'd been to like Thailand and Singapore and the Philippines, and anyone speaking English was doing it in a very broken native accent from where they were from. But then all of a sudden in Hong Kong, they were just speaking to me like they had like an accent like my mom. It threw me off a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the British didn't give back Hong Kong until 97. So.
Yeah, and that hasn't turned out too good for Hong Kong.
No.
Not in a minute, no.
Not in a minute. Here's an interesting one for you. So my dad was in Korea, and he said he got friendly with this woman, and then she got pregnant, but she was also with some other guy, and this is like 1983, and some American bird, and she left and all that. And I'm like, I might potentially have a half brother or sister out there that I'll never know who lives in America.
Man, well, we got to keep so that's what we should do. We should combine our resources.
Do you not think I look a little bit like Tony Hinchcliffe?
Now you've said that, actually.
No, I think Sean was more like Tony Hinchcliffe.
Here's the thing, right? I'm looking at Tony Hinchcliffe. Like before I even knew who the man was, I saw him briefly on Jake the Snake podcast with Joe Rogan. And I was like, he kind of looks a little bit like me. That's weird. And then I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, when you get off with this woman? He's like, 1983. And I was like, when was Tony Hinchcliffe born? 1984. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, was that woman from Ohio?
I don't know, but she was obviously, it was all part of this base, you know what I mean? So there's going to be white faces in this part of Korea, South Korea.
You unfortunately think that Tony does know his dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
but is that his dad, or did she get pregnant in South Korea first? Well, my dad.
I don't know, man. That's a good point.
I'm just putting it out there, you know. But it could turn out that was actually she was pregnant with that other dude instead. So who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what. Next time I'm around Tony and he takes a drink of something, I'll put it in a plastic bag and I'll ship it to you. And you can have a DNA analysis done to see if you guys are related.
We got this thing called ancestry.co.uk. So
yeah,
little poo swab, it'll work out fine.
Follow him into the bathroom with it. Come on,
we just got to see if your dad can remember that chick's name.
He can't.
Or he won't.
Yeah, he won't. I think the last name was Hinchcliffe. I can't remember. really, she went with the other guy because he was funny, stand-up comedian. He just went downtown to get some goddamn pussy,
to get some goddamn pussy.
Oh man. All right.
Well, what do you think about Spider-Man then? We can talk spoilers here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We've all seen it.
Spider-Man was great. A few things I found interesting in the trailer. Wong told Strange not to cast that spell. In the movie, he never said that.
I didn't know that.
Here's the thing. I can explain that, right? So Marvel are renowned for in trailers putting in dialogue and putting in scenes that don't end up in the final product. So that happens all the time. It's misdirection.
That's right. But did you watch the end credit scene?
I watched the first one with Venom, but my parking was nearly up, so I had to bail.
Oh.
This is the second one. The second one, trailer for Doctor Strange, pretty much.
It was basically a trailer, but in that there's voiceover. And in that line from the Spider-Man trailer where Wong says, "Don't cast that spell," was said like over footage of the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer. So it's like they forgot they edited it out of the movie or something. It was really weird.
Well, that film comes out in March, so it'll be interesting to see if that is like a continuation of the consequences from, because it was really interesting.
Maybe they just have that line for every single Marvel trailer for fucking
don't use that spell.
Now let me ask you this. So like plot holes and stuff, the spell brought in people who knew Spider-Man's identity, that he was Peter Parker, right?
Yeah.
Electro, Jamie Foxx's character, never found out that Spider-Man was Peter Parker.
Didn't they know each other from
no,
Connor's lab though?
No. Even in the movie, when he sees Andrew Garfield, he was like, "Oh, you behind that mask, I always thought it was going to be a black guy." So even in the movie, they acknowledged. So how the fuck did he get there? Like that wasn't part of the spell.
Yeah, one criticism I have, and it's only a light criticism, is like how familiar all the baddies were with one another. That was never, like, for example, Dr. Octavius is like, Norman Osborn's a great man. You know what I mean? It's like there was never even any mention.
That's the fucked up thing about the multiverse, because they all kind of know each other in different
Yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean? That's where it gets confusing for me.
So Osborn and I think
Dr. Octavius and
Dr.
Norman
Octavius
Osborn
worked
would
for
know
Norman
each other.
Osborn.
true.
Right?
I know.
Yeah.
It just seemed a bit kind of, I don't know, like it was kind of played out. Like,
but Electro and that lizard the lizard one, I mean, his character wasn't really...
yeah, we said that yesterday. Risa fans got fucked over. Like, he's at the end when he changes back looking all like a fucking idiot. Like, it's just, that's all he got.
Yeah. Oh, my fucking arm's still going.
Yeah, Sandman got fucked over as well because they didn't really show his face until the very end. So it makes me wonder, like, maybe they didn't have much time with those two, because Risa fans is from Wales.
I mean, they used him in his monster form, and they just and did voice capture or voiceover and motion capture, and then when they cure him at the end, they showed Thomas Hayden Church. But I think that I thought that his role was more effective than Lizard.
Yeah, he was quite. Sandman was quite front and center of the enemies, wasn't he? Out of most of them.
I'm going to confess to something.
I think number one, Ned, his what's his friend's name?
Ned, guy in the chair.
He's definitely a sorcerer. He can do magic. Like Strange is gonna end up training him. And then when he brought in, so first Andrew Garfield, I never cared for the Amazing Spider-Man. So when he came on screen, I was like, all right, cool. Where's Toby? And then when Toby walked through, I was like, oh shit, dude, that's what I'm talking about.
I know. Do you know what the thing is? I expected Andrew, but I didn't expect Toby. So fucking
you
when
almost
you see Toby, you're like, holy shit.
You almost thought that Toby would be like would turn it down.
Yeah,
like I'm over that.
He's a prick, isn't he?
I was expecting towards the very end. I was expecting the Dickovich cameo because like when Peter moves into that apartment, and I was just expecting there to be a Dickovich like rent, you owe me rent.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door.
I'm going to admit to something, all right, real quickly. So when I was 15, Spider-Man 3 came out, all right, and I swear to God, I thought the actor playing Sandman was Ernest P. Worrell, and I was like, Ernest got jacks.
The guy who was like, know what I mean, Vern? That guy?
Yeah. I was like, man, he's buff.
What did you think about Charlie Cox showing up as Daredevil?
Well, that was cool.
Daredevil, that was cool. Yeah, he had a little cool scene as well. Don't you like
that was
something out the way? It's like I'm a good lawyer.
That was the first thing where you were like, oh shit, because now we got Netflix Marvel stuff being brought in. And are you watching the Hawkeye series?
I don't.
You know what I'm gonna say? Like I'm out of touch with the MCU and all that shit, so I'm making it a mission to like go through it all and catch up because I watched the Spider-Mans like and shit like that, but
so
I'm not
it's
a big fan
interesting
of the whole entire
the Disney Plus stuff. You're getting more of this kind of stuff being added to it. It's just so much fun.
And Marvel Zombies is coming out soon, and I fucking love that comic.
And they did it in the What If episode, so that was a lot of fun.
I need to catch up on all this shit. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, but I'm just gonna go on a mission.
I tried watching Loki with my girlfriend. Episode 1, she was like, "Nah." I was like, "She likes to watch."
You got to break up with her. That Loki was the shit.
You know, he spat his drink out.
But man, I'm telling you, dude. Like, I'm so excited with them. If I was ever suicidal, like just each announcement that Marvel makes would just keep me holding on a little bit longer. Like I'm afraid to die because I want to see how far this goes. It's so much fun. Like what they were able to do starting off with Iron Man with their B-level heroes, because they sold off the X-Men, the shit that we all knew and loved. They sold off, and then they had these side characters that they were like, well, let's try and create something with that, and they fucking did it, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's so much fun to watch. I don't want to get older because I just want to keep watching this stuff and caring about it. I'm afraid that it's going to get to a point where they start releasing characters where I'm too old to care.
No, see that's the thing. This day and age, it's acceptable to be a fucking nerd in your 80s now. Like I'm not talking about what's acceptable. I'm just saying, like me as a person, I don't want to grow out of this. Don't grow out. Yeah.
Like I want to continue caring about it because they come out with different. Like there's going to be a Miss America, a Captain Marvel. They're just characters who I'm not familiar with that are going to start being shown on there. And I hope that I don't lose interest because they weren't as popular as, say, Iron Man was when I was growing up or something like that.
I don't think you will grow out of it. And I'll tell you why, because, the feelings I had watching Spider-Man as a 10, 12-year-old in the cinema, like, that's gone away. But then seeing all them Spider-Man reunited, I felt that 10-year-old in me.
It's crazy, man. I swear every Spider-Man that has been made, every feature-length film, and that includes into the Spider-Verse, every one of them has made me cry at some point. It is the most emotionally fueled character that I've ever watched. I don't know what it is about that guy, but I remember specifically Spider-Man 2, the scene on the train when they handed him his mask back. I still I kind of get choked up just thinking about it.
Joey Diaz. Hey, you want to get through him? You got to get through me.
Is this yours, cocksucker? You dropped your mask, cocksucker.
Like a doctor.
But there was also some fun things with like Andrew Garfield, like looking at Toby and being like you that just comes out of your body, like with the webs, and then
where else does it come out of? He's like, just my wrist, just my wrist.
And just Andrew being like so like down on himself, and then
Andrew
Toby
killed
being
it though. He's a
good actor.
Yeah, but Toby being like, "You're amazing. You're an amazing Spider-Man."
He's like, you know what? I needed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the end bit where he's like, "Oh, that you're in a lot of pain, ain't you?" And Toby's just like, "Yeah,
I've been stabbed before."
Yeah.
But you know what I would like to see, but we never would. But the storyline of Andrew Garfield after Gwen died. When he says, he goes, "I quit pulling my punches." See, the thing about Spider-Man that a lot of people don't realize is that he uses like half strength because he could kill people with a single punch. He's probably one of the strongest Marvel characters that there is physically. And so when Andrew said that after Gwen died, when he talks about "I quit pulling my punches," that means that Spider-Man character was going on like murderous rampages, like not holding back. And it was real dark. I want to see that character arc. I want to see that.
There's a chance now, because surely now they've all reprised their roles. Or is it like the rights solely Tom Holland?
No,
I mean, I doubt Sony and Marvel would agree to let there be an Amazing Spider-Man continuation while Tom Holland is doing Spider-Man with Marvel. But I just think it would be really interesting to see that darkness with that character, and then this was his redemption. This is when he was able to save MJ in this. Like that was another very emotional scene.
That was, yeah,
and he's like crying, and MJ's like, "You okay?" Oh man, that got me, man.
But just to see like the Amazing Spider-Man knocking people's jaws off.
I got one for you that you find interesting. This is we mentioned this on a podcast yesterday, but there's a made for TV movie called The Human Spider versus the World, and it's basically David Cronenberg's The Fly meets Spider-Man.
Oh my god!
It's a body horror, and Dan Aykroyd's in it, and he shoots spider webs out of his stomach.
Yeah.
And I recommend it. It's actually a good film.
How did the producers of that movie not get sued?
Because it's just a man that becomes a spider.
Spider belly.
You know what I mean? It's like he's more. It
comes out of his abdomen.
Yeah,
out of his belly button, basically.
He develops a hole and he shoots webs out of it. And it's really, if you like The Fly, the 1986 Fly, you'll like this film. So.
Well, there you have it, folks. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Well,
that's a recommendation.
We don't want to keep you any longer, but last question: what's your favorite movie or TV show or porno?
Favorite movie, favorite TV show, dude. I'm rewatching The Wire.
Okay.
And I don't think there's ever been a TV show like it that's as far as its grittiness, its realism. It just doesn't hold back. The Wire is a really good show. It's a drama. It's a crime drama. So it's not really like a lighthearted show, but it's one of the most gripping television shows that I've ever watched. Comedy, Chappelle's Show. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy, but Chappelle's Show is the greatest sketch comedy show ever made.
That Clayton Bigsby has me stitches every time.
I mean, just there's so many things on that show. And I often wonder, could they even do it now, even though it was a show like created and written by a black dude? There's some sketches on that I don't think that they would allow them to do anymore. So I think that it kind of has its mark in time with where it's going to be. I don't think anything will ever match.
I think
it
in
again.
5-10 years time, you're going to start to see that come back, because we talked about this yesterday on the podcast. We were saying about how you're starting to, a classic example is Gina Carano, who got fired from Disney.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro hired her because he's starting his own production company. So you're going to start seeing like a 2-tier society. So the conservatives.
Yeah, but who do you want behind you, Disney or Ben Shapiro? I mean, look, I think it's fucked up that she got fired, though. I don't think that anyone saying, they're a Republican or whatever should get them removed from acting roles. I mean, especially if she's it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's unfortunate. But I think you're wrong. I don't think that Republicans or conservatives spend their money that way. I think the arts will always be ran by liberals. And so if they want to block conservatives out, I think they're going to be able to. And you might have some fringe stuff out there with Ben Shapiro, but the production quality, it's never going to match Hollywood. And so like you're either going to have to toe the line and do what they tell you to, or you're not going to be a mainstream success. There's never going to be a conservative mainstream outside of Fox News. And that's just the bullshit news. It's not like movies and stuff.
I miss Bill O'Reilly, man. I used to fucking watch so many YouTube clips of him getting debates. Why did he have to be a pervert?
I mean, because he's a man and he had some power, and eventually they all do. I mean, look at some of the greatest liberal people that have been like getting paraded around up until recently was Anthony Cuomo, who was the governor of New York.
And Chris Cuomo, yeah.
And Chris Cuomo, his brother, who was the main dude on CNN. And now they're both fucking done because of what Anthony was doing. It's just... Oh, we lost Sean.
I'm still...
There you go. Now you got a cat licking its asshole in the background.
They all do it, man. I'll be joining them later. Don't worry.
That's what I'm waiting for. Is your screen to go blank for a second, and then
this is a bestiality licking asshole.
Oh, that's where they learned it from. They learned it from Sean. This is just some guy licking his own asshole. I clicked on this for the dog.
Yeah, man. No, they love it.
That comes out. He goes, I agree. Let's be friends. Are you on Reddit?
You know those dudes on pornos ask for the names. That's creepy as all fuck, man. Like, what's her name? What's her address?
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you see like this really hot porn star and the name's not listed, you're gonna want to be able to like look it up for
but when it's like grainy 280p homemade that no one's gonna know the name of, it's creepy. It's like,
okay, that's valid.
I want to see her Instagram. I want to see the rest of that kitchen.
I think her name was Sarah. She lives in Minnesota.
Yeah. She came and got a pizza earlier. We ended up fucking. I don't know why. It's crazy. Anyway, did we even get to your favorite film? Sorry.
Yeah, you said The Wire.
Oh yeah, The Wire.
No. Film, that was television show. Yeah,
The Wire. Yeah.
For
and comedy Chappelle show.
Was movie a question?
Oh no, it's not specific. You can anything you want, man. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just a good
way
to bring down the tone.
The Wire is the shit.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, Dan, but that's a fucking great show.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. I really appreciate it. I've had a laugh. It's been good. And next time you see Tony, ask him to do a paternity test. Just
I'll do it, man. No worries.
Cool. Yeah, and tell Hans Kemp to reply to us.
Have y'all reached out to Hans?
Yeah, you replied once, and then ever since he was a guest on Kill Tony,
I'll let him know that you guys are a good time.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate it. All right.
All right, man.